I'm not the kind of person who believes in ghosts. Or I wasn't. Back in 2019, I traveled to Indonesia as part of my anthropology thesis project. I was focused on studying oral folklore, specifically ghost stories from rural Java. The plan was to spend 3 months in a remote village in central Java, living among the locals, interviewing elders, and documenting their myths. The village, called Desa Ketonggeng, wasn't on Google Maps. I had to take a train, then a motorbike taxi, and finally walk the last kilometer. When I arrived, it was late afternoon. The houses were old, made of dark wood and clay. Chickens roamed freely. The air smelled of clove cigarettes and earth. My homestay was with a kind woman named Bu Ratri, who had a shy daughter and a quiet, expressionless husband. Their house was cozy, but directly behind it was something that made me uncomfortable. A dense banana grove, tall and shadowy. The trees looked like they had secrets. That night I asked Bu Ratri about the banana grove. She stiffened. "No one goes there after sunset," she said in Bahasa Indonesia. "That's where she lives." "Who?" I asked. She hesitated. "Kuntilanak." I'd heard the word before in my research. A ghost of a woman who died in childbirth. She wears white, has long black hair, and her cry can drive people mad. I wrote it down in my notebook, thinking it was just another legend. But I didn't sleep well that night. The next few days went by normally. I interviewed several villagers, all of whom confirmed the same story. The grove behind. Bu Ratri's house was haunted. One man told me he'd seen red eyes between the trees. A child said he once heard a woman humming a lullaby that wasn't there. I laughed it off, until the 4th night. I woke up at around 2:30 a.m., needing to pee. The bathroom was outside, a little shack near the edge of the grove. I grabbed my flashlight and stepped into the humid night. The village was dead quiet. As I walked past the kitchen door, I heard it. A whisper. My name. Soft, stretched out. Amelia. I froze. I hadn't told anyone in the village my full name. They all called me Mila, a nickname I'd used since arriving. I turned the flashlight toward the banana trees. They were still, but I felt something shift in the air, like static. I ran to the bathroom, did what I had to do, and sprinted back into the house. I didn't tell anyone the next morning. I wanted to stay logical, grounded. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe someone was playing a prank. But that night it happened again. Only this time I didn't go outside. I was lying in bed reading my notes when I heard it, a soft crying, faint but unmistakable, like a woman sobbing just outside my window. I peeked through the curtain. Nothing. Then the crying stopped. I was about to close the curtain when I saw it. Movement, a figure in white, barely visible through the gaps in the banana trees. Long black hair, pale face. She wasn't walking, she was gliding. And she stopped, right at the edge of the grove, facing my window. I dropped to the floor, heart racing. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning I asked Bu Ratri about the Kuntilanak. She didn't meet my eyes. "She calls people," she said. "If you answer, she follows." "What do you mean, answer?" "If you speak, if you look at her, if you let her know you hear her." I felt sick. I had already done both. That evening I tried to distract myself with my laptop and headphones. I played music, trying to drown everything out. But just after 2 a.m. the crying came again. This time closer. And this time it wasn't sad. It was angry. A low guttural moan. The sound of something in pain and rage. Then I swear to God I heard knocking from inside the house. 3 knocks from the back wall. The one that connects directly to the banana grove. I couldn't move, I couldn't scream. I just sat there under the blanket, shaking. The knocking came again. And then laughter. High-pitched, unnatural, childlike. And then silence. At sunrise, I packed my bag. I told Bu Ratri I needed to leave early, that I had another assignment in Yogyakarta. She didn't stop me. But before I left, she handed me a small pouch made of red cloth. Inside was a chunk of yellow stone, a flower, and something that looked like a clove. "For protection," she said. "Don't throw it away, and don't talk about her until you're far." I nodded. I didn't speak about what happened until I got back to the States. But even now, years later, I still dream about that night. I still hear the laughter sometimes, especially when I'm alone. And worst of all, When I play back the recordings I took from the village interviews, I hear something I didn't hear at the time. A voice, faint, behind the voices of the villagers, calling my name, stretching it out. Amelia. I've always loved solo hiking. There's something peaceful about being surrounded by nothing but trees, sky, and your own thoughts. I've done dozens of trails around Indonesia, but the one I'll never forget and never return to is the one near Mount Salak. They call it Jalur Hitam, or the Black Trail. It's not on official maps. Local hikers sometimes mention it in forums, always with a warning: don't hike alone, don't camp overnight, don't stray off the path. But I didn't believe in that kind of thing. Back in 2021, I decided to take a long weekend and check it out for myself. I wish I hadn't. The trail started off beautifully. The air was cool, the forest thick with bamboo, pine, and wild orchids. I started early in the morning, and by noon I'd made it to a small clearing, a perfect place to pitch my tent. There was no one else around. No signs of other hikers, just wind and birdsong. I cooked a simple meal, took a few photos, and relaxed in my hammock as the sun dipped behind the trees. That's when I noticed something strange. I wasn't thirsty at all. I'd brought 2 liters of water. Normally I'd already be halfway through 1 bottle by now, but I hadn't taken a single sip. I felt fine though, energized even, so I ignored it. That night I built a small fire and listened to the jungle sounds. Crickets, the occasional monkey call, distant owls. Around 1 a.m. I crawled into my tent and fell asleep. And then I heard it, a thump, like something landing heavily on the ground. Then another thump, closer this time, thump, like someone hopping. I sat up. My fire had burned low, casting long, shifting shadows. I reached for my flashlight, but it was gone. The thumping sound was getting louder, rhythmic, slow, like a sack of rice being dropped every few seconds. Then I smelled something. Rotten. Like wet cloth and decayed flowers. That's when I saw it. Just at the edge of the clearing near the trees. A figure, wrapped in white, tightly bound at the feet. It hopped. Once, then stopped. Even from a distance I could feel it staring at me. I froze. My heart pounded so hard I thought it would echo through the forest. And then nothing. It was gone. In the morning I tried to laugh it off. Probably a dream, I told myself. Too many ghost stories. But my water bottle was still full, untouched. And when I tried to drink, it was like my throat rejected it. I spat it out instinctively as if it was spoiled, even though it wasn't. I felt fine, strangely. Just dry, like my body didn't need water anymore. That night it returned. Same sound. Thump, thump. I stayed completely still inside my tent, holding a knife in one hand, clutching my charm necklace in the other. Then it stopped again. Right outside the tent. I didn't look. I didn't breathe. I just listened. Silence. Then, a soft knock against the tent wall. Not violent, just testing. Then a whisper. Not words, just the sound of air escaping. Like it didn't have a mouth. Then more hopping. Away. By morning I was done. I packed everything, even though my body felt strangely light, as if I hadn't eaten or drunk in days. But also wasn't hungry or tired. When I started the hike back down, I noticed something else. No birds, no sounds. The forest had gone dead silent. Halfway down, I ran into a local guide with 2 tourists. He looked surprised to see me. "Did you sleep up there?" he asked in Bahasa. "Yeah, I camped at the clearing." He went pale. "I shouldn't have done that. That place, someone died there, dehydration," but he paused. His water bottle was full. He just never drank. They found him with lips cracked open, eyes bulging. Looked like he hadn't had a drop in days. I didn't respond. I just nodded and walked past him. Back in Jakarta, I couldn't eat properly. I couldn't sleep. My skin felt paper dry even after showers. I started seeing shadows in the corner of my eyes, hopping, always hopping. I went to a dukun, a traditional healer. He didn't touch me, just looked at my face and said, "You brought it back with you." I asked what it was. Pocong, you saw it, you didn't tell it to leave, you let it follow. He gave me a ritual bath, burned incense, and told me to sleep with a bowl of water next to my bed. That night, I finally slept. In the morning, the water was black, like something had soaked in it. I never went hiking alone again. And even now, when I hear something thump at night, I turn all the lights on, just to be sure it didn't find its way back. I've driven across most of East Java. Small towns, winding roads, hidden beaches, you name it. I love solo travel. But there's one night I can't explain, no matter how often I replay it in my head. It happened 2 years ago, when I was driving from Pacitan to Banyuwangi, taking the long scenic route along the southern coast. Around 11:30 p.m. I got lost. My GPS went out, and the road I was on wasn't even paved. Just cracked asphalt swallowed by overgrowth. I hadn't seen another car or person for over an hour. No streetlights, just the hum of my engine and the dark sea somewhere beyond the cliffs. And then I saw it, a small warung. It was glowing warmly in the darkness, lanterns swaying gently, casting gold and orange on the wooden structure. A handwritten sign read, "Warung Bu Murni buka tengah malam." Open midnight. I didn't even question how strange that was. I was exhausted, hungry, and honestly relieved. A woman, maybe in her late 40s, stood behind the counter, smiling. "Silakan mas," she said. "Mau makan apa?" I ordered nasi goreng and sweet tea. It was probably the best meal I'd had in days. The food was hot, the sambal perfect, the tea just right. She asked where I was heading. I told her, and she gave me directions back to the main road. She even packed me a snack to go. Before I left, I asked, "Is this place always open this late?" She smiled. "Only for the ones who need it." I didn't think much of that answer. Just thanked her and left. The next day, I stopped in a small town to refill gas. While chatting with the attendant, I mentioned the warung, told him how lucky I was to find it. He looked confused. "Bu Murni?" "Yeah, small place on the cliffs, yellow lanterns. Nasi goreng was amazing." He went quiet. "You said last night?" "Yeah, around midnight." He scratched his head, then said something I'll never forget. "Mas, that warung burned down in 1982. Bu Murni drowned trying to save her youngest daughter, when the ocean swept in during a storm." I laughed. "No, man, I was just there. Ate her food, talked to her, she gave me directions." His face went pale. "You sure you got out of there okay?" I didn't answer. I drove back that afternoon. Same road, same spot. Nothing. No warung, no lanterns. Just a patch of burnt earth and a small wooden post tilted, almost buried in grass. I got out of the car, heart racing. There, barely legible from decades of sun and salt, was a plaque. "Dalam kenangan Murni dan anaknya Sari 92." My stomach turned. And then I smelled it. Faint. Sambal and clove. The exact scent of the food she served. I looked around. No wind, no birds, just the smell and the memory. I never drove that route again. Sometimes on long drives I think about her, about how warm her smile was, how human she felt. And I wonder, was she still running her warung, still serving food to tired travelers, still waiting for her daughter to come home? Or was she trying to feed those who had already joined her?